For wine investors, second quarter 2020 has been positive. The quarterly report has been highly expected due to the outbreak of the coronavirus in the beginning of the year. But the quarterly report for second quarter 2020 was positive. We can report about rising prices and also a rising marketability. We'll discuss that in a little while with CEO of RareWine Invest, Rasmus Nielsen. Rasmus, welcome.
Thank you.
We'll be discussing some of the wines that I have here on the table, and also Rasmus, we will be discussing the second quarter of 2020. And what was that for a quarter?
I would say it's really a positive quarter for us, as the market have rebounded from the first quarter. When we saw the lockdown in the end of first quarter, we saw the liquidity in the market disappear. That meant that the prices fell in these 14 days to a month. That was really the market was really hard to get around. And we're seeing the second quarter where 7 out of 8 investors actually is in the positive territory. And for the year, we have only lost 1%. So again, wine shows this amazing ability to really be a stable investment in crisis.
Normally we discuss the 4 main areas for wine investment: Champagne, Bordeaux, Burgundy and Rest-of-World. And also we'll do that today.
Yeah.
But today we'll start a bit different. We'll start with Bordeaux.
Yeah.
Normally we do not talk a lot about Bordeaux, but,
no.
but this quarter there was something happening in Bordeaux. The Entrepreneur. What was that about, Rasmus?
The Entrepreneur is you buy wine in the 70s. The chateaus didn't have the liquidity they have today. And they sold their wines in the spring, the year after they were produced, to get the liquidity to do the next vintage, to pay the harvest people, etc. And what we see today is in the past 5 to 10 years, it haven't really been interesting to buy Entrepreneur wines. I would say the last really interesting vintage to buy in broad will be 2008. And with the Covid-19 crisis, I see there was a lot of chateaus that had this opportunity to lower the prices. They had probably had been difficult for them to do it before that because of the brands, and that they didn't want it to
self-respect, perhaps.
Exactly. Yeah. They didn't want it to lower the prices, but now it was convenient for them to really get out there and make Bordeaux interesting again. And with the campaign of 19, we've seen prices that are the lowest since 14 in many cases, and we see high quality wines. So it's been a really successful campaign this year. I'm positive again on Bordeaux, on these wines in the 19. That said, normally Bordeaux wines are not an area we want to invest in, as we don't see enough consumption compared to the production. Here we have the 2019 Calendrier. It's one of the 3 big chateaus in Saint-Estèphe, the northern part of the Medoc. We have Chateau Costier-Estornelle, we have the Chateau Montrose and Calendrier. Calendrier has actually been one of the wines that have been interesting to buy in the past 10 years because they are always willing to put a good price on their wines. So again this year, a huge success with this wine, and a wine you really want to buy.
Thank you. Also, Champagne is interesting to discuss.
Yeah.
We often refer to Champagne as being the bond of the wine world.
Yeah.
We have a crisis now, or we had a crisis, maybe we have it still. But what about Champagne? How is Champagne doing these times?
Now we have a bottle of Cristal here. I'll say all of these super brands, you have Dom Pérignon, you have Cristal, you have Salon, you have Krug. It's really the super brands of the wines market, and we see these still having a huge liquidity even when we had the crisis. So we haven't seen prices falling on Champagne. We're actually in the positive territory. Also, Champagne have not been hit by these tariffs in the United States, so it's really again a positive story. So we're very proud to be in a position where we have 30% of our total portfolio is Champagne, as one of the few in the world. So we are again, this year we are really positive, and this is the bond. And I see still champagne really underrated as a product in the future.
Also in front of me we have a Burgundy wine, and how is Burgundy doing during this time of crisis?
You can say some of the wines that in the past 2 years have rise really hard in value have been hit hard in the first quarter and partly also in the second quarter. But most of the wines that have had sound rises in prices are really doing well in the second quarter, and even some wines we are in positive territorial for the whole year or for the year as a whole. So we are very positive again about Burgundy, and have always been. When it comes down to wine investment, consumption is everything. And for us, when you, for example, take Ponceau, there's 10,000 bottles of Clos de Roche. So it don't have to be there don't have to be a lot of consumption to impact the production. So we're really positive on the Burgundy producers and the Burgundy as an investment, for sure.
Yes. And after Burgundy, we're also going to discuss rest of the world. And Rasmus, how was things in rest of the world this quarter?
You can say for the Super Toscans in Italy, it's been good quarter again, and we see that we expect that to carry on in the coming years. We have some really good vintages, and we have some good value for money there. We also see some of the American wines starting to blossom. We have 100 Acre, Harlan, Screaming Eagle, Dominus. These are wines that are really starting to be interesting as investments, as the value compared to the points are interesting, and the brand are getting more and more accepted in the wine world. So it's we see a trend going towards the States, but it's still for us it will still be a small minor trend for as a part of a portfolio.
Yes, and what about whiskey during these difficult times?
Whiskey is an interesting thing. Whiskey have always been making better returns than wine, but in this year we'll see investing in lesser expensive bottles. I'll say from 1,000 euros to 4,000 or 5,000 euros is where we really want to set the trend and see where the biggest gains will come in the future.
If we look at the third and the fourth quarter of 2020, what can the wine investors expect?
I think the third and fourth quarter will be in positive territorial. I still expect the year as a whole to be a positive as a wine investment year, and that really shows how much wine is a stable investment compared to a lot of other assets at the moment. As I said before, the first half year we've seen prices only fall 1%. So I think that we'll end up being in a positive territory for the year as a whole. Hopefully we'll get back to normal in October, November. There's still less liquidity in the market right now.
Yes, thank you, Rasmus. And also, those of you who follow our transmissions from time to time will realize that we're now in a new studio. And Rasmus, what is that all about?
We have got a new location for the sales office, and we moved to Aalborg to be easier for us to receive investors from all over the world. Also, we are going to a more digital investment in the company, so you will be seeing in the future, you will be able to log into your account, see what wines you have, and etc., see the prices. And also we're building a new warehouse with almost 4 or 5 times the capacity we have right now for investors. So we are more than happy to welcome new investors in the future.
You're very welcome to visit our new office in Aalborg. We would love to welcome you all, and you're also very welcome to visit our warehouse in Vesterhassing. That was all for now. Thank you, Rasmus, and thank you for watching. Stay tuned. Bye bye.
See you soon.